Alright, so what the fuck is up with YouTube only giving us 10 minutes to do these fucking videos? Like, what is that accomplishing? I'm gonna upload, like, 4 parts of this video. Anyway, why not just let me make a fucking 40-minute video? Doesn't make sense. Anyway, here we go. This is gonna be the answer video here. It's gonna take me probably 2 or 3 videos to get through this, so I'm just gonna get started. Question number 1, how many movies have you been in, and how long have you been acting? I've actually never been in a movie. A lot of people say, well, if you don't do movies, if you've never done any movies professionally, then you're not an actor. Well, fine, whatever. I do theater. I'm a stage actor. Theater is really my passion. I've done tons and tons of shows. I've been acting since I was a really little kid. I think I was in my first show when I was 6 years old. When I was younger, I used to do poetry readings and stuff, like competitive stuff. I really got into theater in junior high and high school. My entire academic career from junior high all the way through high school was pretty much consumed with theater, and I continue to do it now that I'm an adult. I do local community theater and college, university level theater. Those types of theater are really my passion. I've never really wanted to do like a really big main stage thing. I suppose I would if I was given the opportunity to do it, but I really have a passion for community theater. I love local stuff. So that's what I do. And let's see, what artist do you think has had the most negative impact on music in, say, the last 10 years? Anybody that's read my MySpace might have seen my blog about this. I think it's Sheryl Crow, hands down. I think that woman has wiped her snatch on more fucking like classic music than anybody in the last 10 years, easily. She's made a career out of taking these really great fucking songs and dumbing them down and turning them into Sheryl Crow songs and releasing them onto the radio. She's got legions of fans that don't know that these are covers, that think that she's just like a brilliant lyricist. I fucking hate her. I'm sure that people could argue about this endlessly, but Sheryl Crow is my answer. Let's see. Were you able to stop smoking? Are you doing well on that? Yes, I was. I haven't had a cigarette in well over a month now. I stopped using the nicotine gum after about 4 days. I just gave up on it because it really wasn't helping, and I thought I'm just prolonging my pain here by continuing to introduce nicotine into my system, so I just quit it. So yeah, I have been successful on that. What was the one thing that you can say led you to atheism? I don't think there is any one particular concrete fucking thing that I could say that this was why I became an atheist. There are any number of things that kind of led me to become skeptical of religion, led me to kind of look into it and question it. I'll give you an example of one. I have a sister, a biological sister, who's 3 years younger than me. We were always really close, and we had a lot in common. She was basically like a female version of me. She was really outgoing, had a lot of friends, really funny. I'm not tooting my own horn here, but I am all those things. Anyway, I moved out of state after high school. I moved really far away. I wasn't able to come home and visit very often. And she fell on some really hard times after I moved out of state. She broke up with a boyfriend that she'd been with for a very long time and basically had a mental breakdown. And found religion as something to comfort her through that. And it wasn't just that she, began to go to church or began to take religion more seriously, because we were both raised in a moderately Christian household. She became a fundamentalist Christian. When I came back, when I moved back, I didn't know her anymore. I didn't know who she was. I didn't recognize her. It wasn't just that she had changed a few things, stopped cussing so much, stopped drinking. She was fundamentally a different person. It was fake. It was completely and utterly fake. She had shoehorned herself into this, like, what she thought the perfect Christian should be, in order to exercise some sort of control over her life that she felt was out of control. And to this day, even though we have a much better relationship now because I've had to come to terms with it, I've had to find a way to maintain a relationship with my sister despite this. And I have, and I think we have a pretty good relationship now. But to this day, every time I hang out with her, every time I see her, I still just can't get over the fact that I feel like she's being fake. So that little incident really kind of caused me to question religion and start looking into, just being skeptical in general. Let's see. How often do you blast crystal meth? Once per day or multiple times per day? I'm assuming that this is a reference to the fact that I get really animated sometimes in videos and I look around and stuff. Yeah, no, I don't do crystal meth. You know, I'm comfortable in front of the camera now. If you look at some of my really old videos, you see what I was like when I was really uncomfortable talking to the camera. I was kind of like really boring and slow and not really myself at all because I was really concerned about what I was doing in front of the camera at all times. Now I don't. Now I'm really extremely comfortable talking to the camera, so I no longer have any of those hang-ups. And in my personal life, that's just how I am. When I'm talking very emphatically about something, I use my hands. I tend to talk fast. I dart around. I look around. That's just who I am. Other people have made comments on the fact that I look like I'm really wired. I'm not. I did do crystal meth one time, my senior year of high school, and it was not a pleasant experience. Not something I would ever want to do again. Yeah, stimulants are not my bag. I'm much more of a downer kind of guy when it comes to drugs. So no, I don't. If you die and meet God in the afterlife, who would you like as a defense lawyer? Matlock. This would work out great for me because Andy Griffith is dead. So if there is a heaven, he's there. So I'd be able to get Matlock. Yeah, Matlock. I grew up watching Matlock. Matlock could talk the guiltiest motherfucker in the world out of prison. None of his clients were ever guilty, and if they were, he exposed them. But you know, I think that if I could talk Matlock into really aggressively defending me, that if anybody could talk God into forgiving my blaspheming ass and letting me through the pearly gates, it would be him. If he wasn't available, then Johnny Cochran. You'd be stupid to pick anybody else. Let's see here. Amazing Atheist asked me about 4 different, paragraphs of questions. So here we go. How much would you charge to suck a horse's cock? This is a question that I'm assuming is supposed to be really hard for me to answer, honestly, but it's not. I've actually talked with my friends about things like this before. I'm a firm believer that when it comes to doing things that are embarrassing, for you, not necessarily things that harm other people. Like, you couldn't pay me any amount of money to kill somebody. I just wouldn't be able to do it. But when it comes to stuff that's embarrassing or hard for me to do, I have a price. And so do you, motherfuckers. People that sit there and say, I say, would you eat that pile of dog shit for 20 grand? People say, no, I wouldn't. You're a fucking liar. If that 20 grand was sitting in front of you in a briefcase, and you knew that nobody would ever have to know about it, and you were just going to get this 20 grand, you would eat that pile of dog shit. You're a motherfucking liar. And if not for 20 grand, then for some amount of money, you would do it. So I've actually talked about this, and I'm a firm believer that everybody's got their price when it comes to stuff that's personally degrading. So I would suck a horse's cock for $1 million after taxes. If I had a cool million in the bank, and under the stipulation that this is not being filmed, and nobody ever has to know about it other than the horse, me, and the guy that's paying me. Unless I choose to tell somebody. I would blow a horse for $1 million after taxes. If you found yourself sexually attracted to a baby, would you kill yourself? Yes, probably would. Especially if it was like an attraction that was turning into a compulsion or something. Like I had to go out and start victimizing kids, or I knew that I was going to at some point. Yeah, I'd probably just jump off a building or something. I'd much rather do that than become a child predator. If rain was lethal to you, would you move to the desert or just rely on umbrellas to protect you? This shows a fundamental misunderstanding of the desert. I lived in the desert for 3 years, and the desert gets fucking monsoons, where it rains harder than I've ever experienced anywhere else on the planet. The desert that I lived in gets more rain than the temperate climate I live in now, inch-wise per year. So, no, I wouldn't fucking move to the desert to escape rain. I would probably stay right the fuck where I am, get some galoshes and an umbrella and tough it out. Let's see. What's the most terrifying moment of your life? I just recently made a video about it. If you didn't watch it, I suggest you do. It's called Paulsego Breaks Himself. The moment when I was getting out of the car, the guy, you'll have to watch the video for this to make sense. The guys that kidnapped me asked me to get out of the car, and I was absolutely certain they were going to kill me, and I knew that within the next 5 or 10 seconds I was probably going to die. easily the most terrifying moment of my life. What was the most enjoyable moment of your life? I have so... It's going to sound like a cop-out answer, and maybe it is. What the fuck ever. I've been very lucky in my life. I've got really cool friends and a really great family. I had a lot of moments that I would classify as the most enjoyable in my life. I couldn't really pinpoint one. And a lot of them are very sappy, but I'm a sappy guy. I love my friends. I love my family very much. And all of the memories that I would attribute as, the most enjoyable moments of my life involved in somehow. My sister just recently had her first baby. I'm an uncle for the first time, and I was kind of disconnected from the whole pregnancy thing. I knew, she was pregnant, but I never really wrapped my head around it. And then that day when she delivered the baby, and I got to go into the emergency room and hold this kid that was just literally minutes old. I mean, that was a really amazing thing to me. I'd never been around a newborn before, especially not one that I was directly related to. That was a really amazing experience. But that's just one of many that I've had. And what are your 5 most favorite things to eat? Pretty much a laundry list of shit that's bad for you. I like pizza. I love pizza. If I had to eat one thing for the rest of my life, it would be, just any type of pizza. Ice cream, I fucking love. Key lime pie, that would be number 3. Key lime pie is fucking amazing. Number 4, my mother's enchiladas. Now, I love Mexican food of all kinds. But my mom makes these oki enchiladas. They're not traditional Mexican at all. They're like cracker enchiladas, right? It's basically just a fucking tortilla filled with meat and cheese and just slathered in sauce and then covered in more cheese and olives and then baked in the oven. It's fucking amazing. And then number 5 is Skittles. I don't eat them anymore. Like, I haven't had Skittles in a very long time because I try to watch, my sugar intake now. I've lost quite a bit of weight just eating better. But Skittles are fucking amazing. Like, I could eat a whole 1-pound bag of Skittles in a sitting and then want more. So there you go. There's 5. Amazing atheist again. If a magical being appeared before you and said that you could have any wishes you wanted, but for every wish you made, a person in a third world country would die, how many wishes would you make? And you can't wish the dead people back. This is a tough one for me. I certainly wouldn't be able to make any selfish wishes with this. I wouldn't be able to say, I want to be a billionaire, and then just end it. My conscience would eat me alive for the rest of my life, and I wouldn't be able to enjoy the fucking money. I would always wonder, if that person in the third world country had a family, if, he died painfully, or she died when she or he died as a result of my wish, was it painful? Was it horrible? Did they die in front of their family? Did they leave behind kids who are now going to starve because there's no breadwinner? I'd never be able to do it. I might be able to do it if I made some really, sweeping wish. Like, I wish that everybody in the world would have access to plenty of food and water forever. If I made a wish like that, I could probably make myself do it. So I'd probably make one wish. I'd probably try and make the most sweeping, wish that I could make that I think would improve as many people's lives or save as many lives as possible. I think I could live with myself then. Have you ever used the word nigger and turned it into a little song? Where you just say the word nigger repeatedly to the melody of Ode to Joy. I have. At some point in my life, I know I've done this. I couldn't pinpoint an exact period of time, but I know it's happened. Yes, I've done it. Would you eat your own left eye if you believed that it would lead you to shit visions of the future? No. Even if I was 100% sure that I would start shitting visions of the future, I wouldn't do it because I don't think I would want to see the future. I think I would be driven insane. I don't think I would want to know. In fact, I don't want to know the future. So no, I wouldn't do it. The Amazing Atheist still going here. He asks, does it hurt to be so inferior to me? Let's see. Are you talking about your subscriber base? Like the fact that all of the fucking interweb subscribes to you? Yeah, that's a little daunting. I'm sitting here doing a little happy dance because I just passed 300 subscribers, and you've got 10 times that plus a couple grand. Yeah, that's a little intimidating and a little sucky. So yeah, I guess it does. I guess it does hurt to be inferior to you. If you had to change your race, which ethnicity would you become? You can't choose Jewish or anything like that. You have to be a whole different skin color. I would be Asian. in fact, I would hope that if I chose Asian, that I would be Japanese, because I have this infatuation with Japan. I love Japan. I've always wanted to live in Japan. I love how obsessed with technology their entire culture is. You can buy shit in Japan like holographic dildos that you flip upside down, and there's a small TV screen in the bottom of them, and you can hook the dildo base to your eye and close the other eye and watch a fully 3D movie in the base. I mean, just crazy fucking shit. I would love to live in Japan. I hope to visit there someday. So yeah, I would be Asian, and if I get to choose what type of Asian, Japanese. What makes you think you're even worthy of answering my questions, peasant? Amazing Atheist asks again. I don't know, I guess because you asked them? Let's see. Would you perform proper oral sex on a handsome man for $1 million? First of all, handsome really doesn't factor into it for me. Being a heterosexual male, I'd probably be just as disgusted blowing Johnny Depp or Kiefer Sutherland as I would blowing Danny DeVito. Now, of course, if there were herpes sores all over the cock, or it just stunk really fucking bad, that would be different. But I think that attractive, handsome dudes can have herpes just as easily as ugly ones can. So handsome doesn't factor into it for me. And then you put proper. You said, would you perform proper oral sex? And you put proper in parentheses. I'm assuming that proper means like oral sex that ends in ejaculation, oral sex to orgasm. So the question is, would I perform proper oral sex on a man for $1 million under the same stipulations that I would blow a horse? Yes, I would do it. Maximum 5 minutes, 10 minutes of really uncomfortable shit for $1 million after taxes? Absolutely, I'd do it. And so would you. Do you think that the world would be better in terms of standards of living and peace if everyone was an atheist and irreligious? No. No, I don't. I'm not an eradicate religion atheist. I don't think that, if everyone was an atheist, that the world would be much better off than it is today. I think it's human nature to find divisive things and line yourself up behind them. I think that if religion wasn't there, that something would take its place. Race would be more of a factor than it is. Nationalism would be more of a factor than it is. Human beings would find some reason, to hate one another and to have war with one another if religion, wasn't there and wasn't a factor. So no, I don't think that standards of living or peace would markedly increase in the absence of religion. Why is it that most of your watchers seem to have mostly gay-oriented questions, especially the Amazing Atheist? I don't know. I think that maybe people think that asking really blatant homosexual questions of somebody really makes them uncomfortable, and they're trying to stump me. Nobody stumped me. I read through these questions one time after I closed them down and went to make this video. Nobody stumped me. Some of you motherfuckers made me pause for a minute, but nobody stumped me. I'm not uncomfortable answering questions about my sexuality or answering blatantly homosexual questions. So they fail. They fail miserably. What should they do with pedos? A, shoot them. B, lock them up for life. C, give treatment of which it's unknown if it works and release them. D, lifelong torture. E, other. Chemical castration, I guess. If somebody's a child predator, you chemically castrate them. You put them through some really extensive rehabilitation, like lockdown rehabilitation. And you don't release them until your staff psychologist feels that they don't have a sex drive anymore, that they're no longer a threat, and you send them back into society. I'm kind of with the Amazing Atheist on, I don't like life sentences. I'm completely against the death penalty, and life sentences bother me. So yeah, that's probably what I would do. It's a tough question. Have you ever walked over a cemetery at night? Yes, I have. If yes to that one, were you scared or did you find it relaxing? I was scared shitless. I was in a cemetery at night in high school. We went to a theater competition, and one of the traditions is after the big day of performance at this theater competition, all the kids would sneak out of the hotel room at night and go to the cemetery and run around until the wee hours of the morning. And every time that I did that, it was terrifying for me. I would try and stay with people, but eventually I would get separated and end up by myself and just freaked out. Weirdest place you ever got laid? I got laid once at a party. It was after the party. It was a big party, and it had wound down, and everybody had crashed out. And there were probably 8 or 10 people, including myself and my ex, in the living room. And we fucked in the living room with 8 or 10 people sleeping really close proximity to us. In fact, I'm positive that more than one of them woke up and heard what was going on and decided to just lay there and wait for it to be over. I'm so thankful to them, too, because I remember that being really good sex. And if it was me that had woken up to somebody fucking, I would have had to give them a hey, 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 and just ruin the whole fucking thing. So I'm glad whoever it was that woke up was either not an asshole or really uncomfortable. Thanks to whoever that was. And weirdest place you'd ever want to get laid. I would want to get laid in a shark cage. You know, like 20 feet below the water with a bunch of chum in the water and a bunch of great white sharks in a feeding frenzy. Just bumping the cage and, gnawing on a huge chunk of whale blubber like 5 feet from you, and you're just... That would be fucking amazing. Like, how could you top that? That would be sweet. Do you have an idol, and if so, who? No, I don't have an idol. I've never idolized anybody. I've, had people that I respect their artistry and respect their work, and I'm a fan of some actors and some writers and poets, and but no, I've never idolized anybody. Who's your favorite famous atheist not on YouTube? I really wish I had a really off-the-wall, obscure answer to this. I wish I could throw out a name there that nobody knows and look really intelligent. But my favorite atheist, famous atheist, is Carl Sagan. Just everything that man has done is amazing. I just really, really enjoy everything that he's done. So, yeah, Carl Sagan. If you were abducted by aliens and were permitted to ask one question of them, what would it be? I would ask them to explain to me in plain English how their propulsion system works, how they do the interstellar travel thing, so that I could come back to Earth and hopefully help to advance us to be able to do that as well. That would be pretty sweet. I can't think of anything else I would really want to ask an alien. If you could buy all of human knowledge for the price of having a cliched case of amnesia, would you make the trade? Sorry if the wording on this one is weird. Yeah, it is. I'm not sure what you're asking. Are you saying that I would get all of human knowledge for a few days and then I forget everything, including my life? If that's the case, then no, I wouldn't. But if you're talking about I forget who I am, I forget my family and friends and everything, but in exchange for that I get all of human knowledge, then yes, I would do it. And this is why. Because I think that with all of human knowledge, I would be capable of overcoming the amnesia and finding my way back into my life again. So yeah, I would probably do it. Let's see. What would be the advantage of an atheistic government? I think that there are advantages that are really obvious to that. I mean, we wouldn't have people in the government legislating from a narrow religious perspective. We wouldn't have people legislating based on their religious hang-ups, what kind of medical procedures a woman can have. We wouldn't have people holding up really promising scientific research, because they have some sort of religious moral dilemma about destroying a small cluster of cells in order to do the research. We wouldn't have, people in the government continuing to actively socially regress this country and keep, homosexuals from having equal rights and, because of their religion. So I think that those are probably the most obvious advantages of an atheistic government, although I don't know if a government that was... never mind. That's it. What do you think the biggest problem in the world today is besides Switzerland? Well, you fucked up my answer because I would have said Switzerland. Beyond Switzerland, I think that the fact that we live on an Earth that has more than enough capability to sustain every person on this planet plus some, and there are people starving and people that don't have access to clean water. I think that is the most basic, fundamental problem that we face as human beings. The fact that there are people, just millions and millions of people starving in this world. What are your favorite movies? And I'm glad this is plural because I don't think I could narrow it down to one. My favorite movies. I love Stanley Kubrick's movies, all of them, except for Eyes Wide Shut, which sucked ass. But, Clockwork Orange, The Shining, Doctor Strangelove, etc. Love all of those fucking movies. They're just amazing. I love The Big Lebowski. It's probably the funniest movie I've ever seen. I'm not the type of person that laughs out loud at movies. Even if they're really funny, I tend to get engrossed in watching them, and I don't really laugh. I laugh every fucking time I watch that movie. It's fucking amazing. I love it. I have to watch that movie once every couple of months, and I just still laugh all the way through it. It's great. And Aliens, the second one, not the first one. The first one was okay, but Aliens, oh man. That movie is so badass in so many different ways. There's yet to be a science fiction movie that has surpassed that movie in sheer badassedness. I mean, there's too many badass things about that movie to go into. So there's a good handful for you. Would Paris Hilton be a good advertiser for atheism, and how much should we pay her? I had to think about this one because at first I was like, fuck no. I wouldn't want Paris Hilton walking around telling everybody that she's an atheist. She'd make us all look bad. But then, I think this is what you were getting at, because now that she's out of prison, she went on Larry King Live and did an interview where she talked about her religion, she talked about Christianity, she read passages from the Bible and shit. So to answer your question, yeah, I think that's a pretty good advertisement for atheism. I don't think we should pay the bitch, though. She doesn't need any money. What are your feelings on zoophilia? If the animal is not tortured by it, if the animal is not hurt by it, and you want to fuck a sheep, don't do it in front of me, but have at it. I mean, think about this. We kill these animals and eat them, right? We shoot, I was a kid, I grew up out in the country, I was in 4-H, I raised a pig, right? From a small pig to a full-grown adult, I loved this pig, and then sold it to somebody who shot it in the head and skinned it and ate it. So, as long as it's not hurting the animal, it's not causing torture to the animal, and you want to fuck an animal, have at it. I don't care. I don't want to know about it. I don't want to see it, but go for it. What's the most interesting dream you have ever had? I don't have a lot of memorable dreams. It's always been something that bothers me. I've had a few over the course of my life, and I really latch onto them because I just hardly ever remember my dreams. So here's my favorite one of all time, and it happened when I was a kid. I was about 11 years old when I had this dream. When I was a kid, I really wanted to go to the Epcot Center, in Walt Disney World in Florida, the Epcot, the big dome. I wanted to go there. I don't know why. I just wanted to see it. So I had this dream that me and my family went to the Epcot Center, and it was probably 20 times the size that it really is in this dream, right? And we walked in, and it's just this huge fucking place, and there was a gigantic swimming pool for some reason that just stretched from one end of it to the other, and there were just people milling around everywhere, and shops and all kinds of shit. And so I walked in there, and I was looking around, and then I noticed I had to take a shit. So I told my mom, I said, I got to find a bathroom. I have to go poop. And so I looked around, and I saw a men's room, so I walked over to it, went into the men's room, sat down in a stall, and began to try and take a shit. And I became faintly aware as I was sitting there trying to take a shit, which is always really, frustrating in your sleep because your body's kind of tuned not to allow you to take a shit in your sleep. You might have to take a shit, but in your dream it just feels like you're really constipated because in your dream you're really trying, but your body just won't let you actually shit. So anyway, I'm sitting there trying to shit, and I become faintly aware of this music in the background, and it's that circus music. I don't know what it's called, that organ grinder, and I hear this, and it starts getting louder and louder and louder and louder and louder until it's ear-splitting. It's just so fucking loud that I'm having to cover my ears. And then all of a sudden, as I've got my ears covered, the toilet underneath me shakes, starts shaking and rumbling, and then starts rising up into the air, right? Like it's on some sort of a track. And so I grab on to the bowl, and the circus music is just blaring out of nowhere. And I grab onto the bowl, and I'm raised up, out of the bathroom, and now I'm out into the gigantic dome of Epcot, right? And I'm sitting there, and this music is playing, and I roll forward, and I'm on like a roller coaster track on the shitter, right? And I start to zoom around the inside of Epcot on this fucking roller coaster. And I look down, and I can see all the people that are there in Epcot Center pointing at me going, ah, 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 and I'm just like looking down, and I'm like, and I started to scream, no, over and over, no, no, and I'm just, and I woke up screaming no. My mom woke me up screaming, no, no. So that's my favorite dream of all time. That was amazing. If I could have dreams like that every night, I would want to sleep a lot more than I do. Okay, let's see. I lost my place here. How do you think your ordeal with those carjackers has changed your outlook on life? Well, immediately it was pretty negative for me. I had post-traumatic stress disorder, really pervasive post-traumatic stress disorder. After that, I still struggle with it to this day. I still have intrusive flashbacks of the incident, although I've got it under control now. But at first, I couldn't even ride in a car at night anymore. So the immediate effect on me was pretty negative. But the overall effect, having dealt with the post-traumatic stress and dealt with the issue and moved past it in my life, is that it changed my entire outlook on life. It made me a person that is much more thankful for the life that I have, because I truly believe that I really did escape death. I don't, even the cops, when I was waiting at the police station for my dad to come pick me up when I finally got back to the police station, one of the cops that was involved in catching these guys came in to see me and asked if I was all right and bring me my clothes. And he told me, he said, you're really lucky. And I don't know why he told me this. I didn't know maybe he thought it would comfort me, but it scared the shit out of me. He told me that the gun that this guy had was, I told you it was a 9mm with an extended clip. He said that it had an illegal hair trigger on it, and that when they had found the gun, the safety was off. And something tells me that the safety was off on this gun when he had it to my head. So he could have hit a bump and just blown my fucking head off. And he also told me that I was very lucky, because usually when this happens to people, when they're kidnapped and taken out into the country, it means that they're going to die, that they're going to be shot. The fact that I wasn't, he told me, he said it was pretty much a miracle. So, I truly do believe that I escaped death, and it really made me appreciate life a lot more. So there you go. What's your favorite book? My favorite book, I think I talked about this in a previous video. My favorite book is Hatchet by Gary Paulsen. It's the first novel I ever read. It's like on the third or fourth grade curriculum. It's the first novel I ever read, and I directly attribute my love of reading to that book. I still read that book, once a year, and I love the story. It's great. I also love The Lord of the Rings, but I can't pick just one of them, so I always say Hatchet. But The Lord of the Rings, I've read that trilogy, and The Hobbit a million times too. So there you go. Do you have any favorite historical, philosophical thinkers? If so, who are they and why do they appeal to you? The closest that I can come, I'm not a huge philosophy buff. I like the very, outer level of philosophy, the basics, but when it comes to the really deep, I don't have the patience for it. The closest that I can come to this would be William Shakespeare. I've learned a lot about humanity from reading his plays, and I think that he was just one of the great minds of all time. I love reading his work. I love acting in his work. So if I had to pick one, I don't know if he counts as a philosophical, historical mind, but he's the closest I can come to somebody that I would say is my favorite, definitely. Where do you see the world atheist movement in 200 years? I actually am pretty optimistic about that. If humanity doesn't manage to wipe itself off the map within the next 200 years, which I think is a very real possibility, if we survive the next 200 years and, our government doesn't turn into some sort of, fucking police state, doesn't turn into some sort of a fucking locked down fascist police state, which I think that we're call me a fucking conspiracy theorist, but I think that we're extraordinarily close to that, and I think that it probably will happen. Assuming that we continue along the same path that we are now, I think that atheists will enjoy much better stature in society in 200 years. I think that we've been gaining ground steadily. I know that atheists are still the most maligned group of people in the United States, the most mistrusted, the most hated minority in the United States. But we've made some incredible leaps forward. We've got atheists, publicly speaking about it. We've got atheists writing books about it, and the books are becoming bestsellers. And so I think that the more and more time goes on, the more accepted atheism and atheists are going to be in society. So assuming that we're still around and still in a decent, free society in 200 years, I think atheists will be much better off, enjoy much better status. Let's see. Although you view religion as complete and utter bullshit, if you had to pick one, which one would you say is the most realistic and why? I think that religion as truth is complete bullshit. I don't think that religion... There are a lot of things... I would pick Christianity. There are a lot of things about Christianity that I like. Of course, I'd be cherry-picking. I cherry-pick things out of Christianity that I like. Because there are a lot of things about Christianity that are ridiculously awful. But yeah, I would probably pick Christianity. Yeah, you're right. You said, I know you might say no religion is realistic. Yeah, I don't think any religion is realistic. I don't think Christianity is any more realistic, but I do like it. I have experience with it, and there are things about it that I really do enjoy from a philosophical standpoint. If you were the president, what would you do? If I was the president, the one thing that I know I would work towards, and I would probably fail miserably, is getting money out of politics. I would work towards shutting down lobbyists altogether, or at least shutting down the ability for lobbyists to donate huge amounts of money and trips and swag to all these fucking congressmen. I would reform campaign finance to where a normal guy like me, or a really intelligent guy that also happens to be a blue-collar worker, would have a chance at representing this country. I think that that's a huge problem, and that would be probably the thing that I would tackle as the president. If you were a millionaire, what are the first 10 things you'd buy with your fortune? I'm not going to list every last one of them, but I think that they would probably be things for my friends and family, depending on how many millions I got. If I was a millionaire, like if I sucked the horse cock and got the $1 million, I probably wouldn't be able to buy much for my family. I'd probably try and give each one of them a car or something. So that would probably be the first thing. But if I was a multi-millionaire, I'd buy houses for people and shit. I mean, I can't take it with you. I would leave myself enough to where I know I wouldn't have to worry for the rest of my life. But I would also make sure that, especially my close family, wouldn't have to worry either for the rest of their lives. I'd set them up. Let's see. If you could clone yourself as you are now and make out with yourself, would you? Abso-fucking-lutely. Wouldn't you? Like, how surreal would that experience be? Plus, who better knows how to please you than you? Absolutely. That would be amazing. Do you think that the amazing atheist and the friendly geek are really just the same person? I don't give a shit. Do you like Jell-O? Plain Jell-O? No. Like the like jigglers and shit? No. Jell-O pudding? Amazing. Yes. When I put my car lock remote under my chin, it works from farther away. Does my head act as an antenna? I would imagine that your gigantic melon, filled with all kinds of soupy liquid and shit, would help to conduct a signal. Yeah, I guess it does. The amazing atheist again. He took like an hour break and then came back and threw some more at me. Is this question better than you? Because I don't know how to answer it, yes, I suppose it is. If your girlfriend was raped by your best friend and she killed him in an act of revenge, would you break up with her? I think it would probably lead to us breaking up, yes. That type of traumatic thing, yeah, I don't know if I would break up with her, but it would probably lead to a breakup down the road, because it would just fundamentally change our relationship. Do you ever stare at the ceiling all night thinking about how much death will suck? No, I don't. I'm not really afraid of dying, and I don't think it's going to suck. What is the coolest disease name ever? Spinal meningitis. It's actually one of my favorite songs, too, a song by a band called Ween, Spinal Meningitis. That's a fucking great name. It's just the structure of it, spinal meningitis. It's fun to say. It sounds cool. If I was going to name my kids after a disease, I would name them spinal meningitis, and then maybe call them Spiny for short. That's awesome. Let's see. Do you envy my man tits? This is obviously the Amazing Atheist. How could I not? Those are some glorious fucking breasts that you have. I remember a video that was made, I think it was right around the first time that I ever made a video response to you. I said something about your man tits, and somebody made a video response to me that was just like 10 minutes of video looped of you like slow motion juggling your man tits. How could you not be jealous of those man tits? You said all answers will be interpreted as yes. Well, the answer is yes. Absolutely. If you had an army of machine gun toting ninjas, in what way would you utilize their services? I would have them rob banks and shit for me. I would give them explicit orders not to kill anybody, but I would have them rob banks, and then I would take the proceeds. Because I have no problem stealing money from banks. I don't know why morally I don't have a problem with that, but yeah, I would put them to work stealing shit. After you're done raping someone, do you ever feel that little ping of guilt? Wow. Are you regretting this yet? Absolutely. I was regretting doing this before I even made the video, and I'm definitely regretting it now. Let's see here. Proud of my ape heritage. I had to read this guy's name because that's a great fucking name. That's like the most awesome name on YouTube. Let's see. What is your favorite theist argument for entertainment value? Oh, man, I love young Earth creationists. I love listening to young Earth creationists talk about dinosaurs and man living together and trying to justify their belief that the Earth is 6,000 years old and the Grand Canyon was caused by the Great Flood. I love it. Young Earth creationism is my favorite theist argument for pure entertainment value. What would it take for you to believe in God? You've seen Bruce Almighty, I'm assuming, something like that. God would have to appear to me and prove to me beyond a shadow of a doubt that he exists, that I'm not hallucinating, that I'm not having a mental breakdown, but that he actually does exist. And I'm sure that if God did exist, he would know how to do that. And I would have no problem believing in God after that. I'm not a stubborn bastard. If God proved himself to me, showed up and, put me in a bubble and took me to the outer reaches of the universe and allowed me to, cause my dog to stand up on the toilet and piss into the toilet, I would totally fucking believe in him. Should the Bible have an age rating? It's full of violence. No. I don't think... I hate ratings in general. I think that ratings are just fucking ridiculous. I think that they especially when it comes to movies, that they amount to censorship. If your movie is rated R, you have a harder time getting sponsors for it. You have a harder time advertising it. If your movie somehow has one too many fucks in it, they rate it X, and then you're screwed. Then theaters won't carry it. I hate rating systems. I think it's a parent's job to keep a kid from reading or watching or playing video games that are exceptionally violent that you don't think a child can handle. I don't think we need the government to tell us about that. Specifically the Bible, I was raised, when I was little, I was a Christian kid, and the stuff I read in the Bible was like Noah's Ark and blah, 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 blah. In fact, I don't even remember reading the Bible when I was a kid. So no, I think it would be pointless to slap a warning sticker on it, although I probably wouldn't want my 3-year-old reading the book of Numbers. Yeah. Let's see. What's your theory on why the Fifth Watcher is so stupid? Do you think he's drunk or high when he makes his videos? He really sounds like what a stoner might come up with if a stoner tried to come up with a logical argument for bullshit theology. I don't think that the Fifth Watcher is stupid. I actually kind of like the guy, despite the fact that I think he's horribly misguided. and has a fundamental misunderstanding of some very basic things that he talks about on an almost daily basis on his channel. I still like the guy. I think he's pretty smart. I think he's intelligent, so I don't think he's stupid. I do think, however, that he's drunk in a lot of his videos. He comes off to me as the type of guy that just gets shit-faced and makes a video. In fact, I think he's talked about it before. So there you go. Let's see. What's your girlfriend's name? What color is her hair? Where does she work? Is she really just going out with you to get close to your best friend? I can answer two of those. What color is her hair? She's a brunette. Is she really just going out with you to get close to your best friend? I somehow doubt it. My best friend is a douche. I doubt she would be attracted to him. But if she is, more power to her. She's had me fooled. Already answered that one. If you could shoot one person or group of people into space, never to return, who would it be and why? Gilbert Godfrey, because he drives me insane. I would put him in a space capsule and just fire him to the end of the universe. And it would be fun to listen to him streak across the sky screaming like that. I know I wouldn't be able to hear him, but it is what it is. Just assume for 1 second that God exists. Do you think he will forgive you your sins or judge you differently just because you didn't believe in him? Are we talking about the Judeo-Christian God here? If that's the question and I die the way that I am now, not believing in God, no, he won't. That's pretty scripturally backed up. He will send me to the lake of fire, unequivocally. No. Let's see. We all know that what you believe does not change reality. Many reborn Christians claim that God has revealed himself to them. They are certain he exists. They have no hatred towards you and try to follow Jesus and do good. Why would they lie to you if they only want the best for you? I don't think that Christians are necessarily lying when they evangelize. I think that they really believe it. I think that they lack the ability to critically think about the things that they believe, and that's where they go wrong. But I don't see them as liars. What motivation would they have for lying, and why shouldn't you trust them? Well, I don't think that they are lying, but why shouldn't I trust them? Because I'm a skeptical person, because I don't take things at face value, because I ask questions. I don't just accept things that are told to me. That's why I don't trust. That's why I don't trust what a theist tells me is true without looking into it myself. Because I know that theology, especially Christian theology that I have the most experience with, doesn't hold water. When you put it up underneath even the most mild scrutiny, it just doesn't hold water. That's why I don't trust them. According to born-again Christians, Jesus revealed himself to them. Although reality is not altered by what one believes, wouldn't it be reasonable to say that if someone believes in something hard enough that they could trick their minds into thinking Jesus spoke to them, like a kind of self-hypnosis? Yeah. No, I think that actually, I think that happens quite often. The human mind is incredibly powerful and is capable of just really altering a person's reality. So I don't doubt that there are Christians on this earth that have actually believed that Jesus has appeared to them and spoken to them. If you had the power to convert one religious nutter on YouTube, who would it be? I would love to see Venom Fang X make a My Faith Has Fallen Apart video. That would be amazing. And what type of dog do you have? I've noticed him randomly wandering around in the background in a lot of your vids. My dog is a she. She's a miniature schnauzer. Her name is Boogie for short. Boognish is her full name. She's named after a demon god made up by Gene and Dean Ween of the band Ween. And if you've never listened to Ween, if you're a person that likes offbeat, fucking weird shit, you need to listen to Ween. Ween is one of my favorite bands of all time. And Boognish is this demon god that they made up that they claim inspires their music. And so I named my dog Boognish. We call her Boogie. She only gets called Boognish when she's in trouble. So there you go. What's the most significant event over the last 1,000 years in terms of the betterment of mankind? The harnessing of electricity. I can't think of anything else in the last 1,000 years that has improved mankind's situation more than that. Uh, what's your social security number? I kid. 276-593932. What do you think about the recent censorship issues surrounding G2s or GIIs, pro-atheist videos? I actually don't know about it. Censorship in general on YouTube I think sucks, although I do think that people probably should try and go ahead and abide by the rules of, not using, not uploading movies and not uploading songs and shit. I know I've done it, but people that get banned because they do shit like that over and over again and then whine about it, YouTube has to protect their asses some way. But when it comes to just speech, like if this person was just speaking about atheism, then it's bullshit. Why did Jesus have human attributes, growth, birth, hunger, learning? How could he be the reincarnation of an omniscient God and still learn? How could he be the reincarnation of an omnipotent God and still hunger? Why did Jesus have human attributes and godlike attributes? I think the Christian theological explanation for this is that Jesus was God made flesh. In fact, God had to send a representation of himself back as a mortal because ultimately he was going to die for us, right, and absolve us all of our sins. Well, an omnipotent God couldn't die on the cross either. So Jesus had to be mortal. I think that that's the way that a Christian would explain it to you, but I think you might be answering the wrong guy. You want my personal explanation as to why all this contradiction exists? Because it's a made-up fucking story. Did Jesus subject himself to the laws of human nature? He's asking another question here. Then why call him apart from God? God must be affirmed to be changeless, any concept. And see, that's, God, one of the great reasons that it's so hard to argue the existence of God is because God could have a different definition to any number of people. So you're talking about this narrow definition of God that's accepted by some Christians. Once again, I just think that it's a made-up story. I think that it's a bullshit story, which is why all these holes exist. A Christian would give you a different response. Would you rather be eaten alive by ants or a couple of praying mantises? Ants. What do you think of Noam Chomsky? I've never read one of his books. I've read some of his articles and watched some of his debates, but I'm really kind of uninitiated to Noam Chomsky. So the stuff that I have watched and read of his, I've liked. If you had a gun when those guys carjacked you, would you have shot them? I've asked myself this question. I think I would be dead if I would have had a gun, because I think that if I would have had a gun that was in a place where I could have gone for it, I probably would have ended up trying to shoot one of the guys and getting shot myself, and I'd probably be dead. So I'm actually thankful I didn't have a gun. But the answer is probably yes. I probably would have tried something if I would have had a gun. Do you ever think about when this guy gets out of prison, he will come looking for you? Yeah. Yeah, I've thought about it before. The other kid, the 14-year-old that was driving, he's out of prison. He's been out of prison for about 8 years now or so, or longer. And he's never come looking for me. I suppose it's possible that he might. I have thought about it. As an actor, what role would you love to play in any remake? Oh, man, this is tough. I would like to play Augustus Gloop in another remake of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. That would be awesome. I would like to play Walter in a remake of The Big Lebowski, although I think remaking that movie would just butcher it. Pretty much any role. That's a good question. I tend to hate remakes, but there are any number. Those two are good examples. A remake of Dune. I would like to play the Baron Harkonnen. That would be sweet. Like to get to wear that suit and float around and have swords all over you. Awesome. Yeah, that would be good. I would be the Baron Harkonnen in a remake of Dune. Another remake of Dune. A decent remake of Dune. Who is my favorite actor besides TMC 1969? That's a tough one. No, my personal favorite actor is Philip Seymour Hoffman. I just fucking am captivated watching what he does. He's just amazing. I think that he's so versatile and such a fucking great method actor that I bow down to him. Much respect to Philip Seymour. If you could turn back time and be any past leader, who would it be? Oh, man. I don't know. I don't know if I would want to place myself in that position. I've never... I talked earlier about what I would do if I were president, but I've never been a person that really had fantasies of taking on that type of responsibility. I don't know that I would do it, to be honest with you. I don't know that I would do it if I had the chance. Let's see. Do you believe there could be life on other planets? I don't mean like roaming around Earth, but like a full-grown civilization. I believe that it's almost certain that there's some sort of life out there somewhere. Whether it's intelligent, sentient life, I don't know. Whether it's a civilization, I think that the chances of that are slim. But I think it's possible. I don't know if I believe that it's absolutely true. I don't, but I believe that it's possible. Also, I like your Scotty dog. What's its name? It's a schnauzer, a miniature schnauzer, Boogie. Already answered. Let's see. Anything? Yeah, that was the question. If I learned anything from doing this video, it's that I'm never doing one of these again. It's been fun, but not. And that's the last question. We're done. Anyways, thanks everybody for watching, and until next time, peace the motherfuck out. Peace, peace, peace.